Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live. I am your host, Elisha of Custom Creation Photography, coming to you for Tips for Tuesday. How you doing today, folks? How are you doing today on this wonderful day? We are continuing our series here on 4 steps to preparing for a harvest. And as we use the word harvest and everything like that, we're using it as a metaphor for our building something and using harvest as a way of planning our goals, our visions and stuff like that we have for some things that we want to do in life, whether it's a business or anything like that. So we are on, I believe, number 4, which would be week 4 for Tuesday Night Live in this particular series. And I'm just going to kind of refresh or go over some of the 4 tips from the beginning to where we are today, and then we're going to discuss tip number 4, which is exercising patience in the process. But let's get to that, because remember, April showers bring May flowers. But listen, before we can get to the showers, before we can get to the flowers, we would have had to plant some seeds in order to have a harvest so that April's showers can bring May those flowers. Okay. So the 4 steps to prepare for the harvest. These was what we were working on this month. Number 1 was purchase your seeds. So those seeds represented your visions and goals. Number 2, plant your seeds. Planting your seeds represent the plans, the steps of the progress of the process. I'm about to say progress, but progress is a part of that as well. Progress, but we're planning the steps of the process. Okay. And number 3, which we discussed last week, was provide sunlight and water, meaning in this case, keep showing up. So we want to provide that sunlight and water, but keep showing up for your harvest, for your seeds, for the planting, for all of that kind of stuff. I'm so animated. And this week, I am happy to bring to you exercising patience in the process. Okay, how many of us is patient, or how many of us is impatient? Things take time. Things can take some time. Sometimes things don't happen overnight. So today's topic is exercising patience in the process and providing 3 tips. Today, I'm providing 3 tips on exercising those patience in the process. Okay. So number one, number one, in exercising patience in the process is nurture with consistency. Stay committed to taking small steps in the process of what you are building. Okay. Every action contributes to the eventual outcome. All right. So basically, it's kind of just showing up, being consistent. Those small steps are leading to the eventual progress, outcome and everything like that. So sometimes you don't see those small steps or that sunlight or that water or whatever you're doing to push these things forward, but things are definitely happening. Okay. So yes, nurture with consistency. All right. Stay committed to those small steps. Okay. Those small steps are important. Number 2 is trust in the timing of growth. That's a really good one. Um, Trust in the natural rhythm of growth and progress occurs gradually. And once again, we can look in nature and see that progress occurs gradually. If I was to go out today and plant some grass seeds, tomorrow I am not going to have all this beautiful Bermuda grass in my yard. That's not how this works. So those small steps in the process and just getting them out there and everything like that, it gradually is going to become some beautiful grass, or it's gradually those grass seeds is going to fill in those bald spots or anything like that. So again, trust in the timing of the growth. Okay. Number three in this tips is cultivate a mind of gratitude. Okay. Embrace both challenges and success along the way. Acknowledge the lessons learned in the process. You can find joy and fulfillment in the process. So I like this where it says, cultivate a mind of gratitude and embrace both challenges and success along the way. Okay. And then acknowledging the lessons learned, because sometimes when we're building something, um, challenges do come, and I know as much as we want it to be a smooth road and a smooth sailing along the way, once there's a bump in the road, it really kind of just shapes what we got going on. Oh, this is not fair, and all this other kind of stuff. And as I've been just even going through the process of, taking these steps to prepare for a harvest, even thinking about this has been so helpful for me because it brings up so many memories of um situations that I've had along the way. And if you heard the saying that they say just because you're having a bad day doesn't lead to a bad life. But a lot of times when you're coming across one of those challenges where it's really, really kind of hurting, you know, I know it's not a bad life, but in that moment, it is rough. It is rough. And I can think of many, many things in the process of just building custom creation, and some of the challenges and things I have been through, just starting from something from scratch. It's not like for me personally, I haven't had a blueprint. A lot of the things that I have done, I have actually just made them up. They've come to me. I wrote down an idea and I just move forward with it. And then I let just the natural progression of things just happen. So in doing something for the first time, you're going to learn in the process. So whether it's doing this and I just step out there and do it, and then you'll know how to do it better the next time. And then even as you continue to do stuff, you're going to just learn how to do stuff better the next time. But the challenges that come with that, they can be very hurtful. They could hurt you, or and hurt you in a way that's like, oh God, that was all the way wrong, or anything like that. Matter of fact, I'm looking at this right now, my background. That's not supposed to be there like that. That's anyway. So in just writing that back, that it just reminds me of so many different challenges that I go through. And it's funny because it's almost like a pain that's soon forgotten a lot of times, but it also says acknowledge the lessons learned in the process, because I think there's so many lessons to be learned in the process, and but when you're going through something, a lot of times you don't acknowledge those lessons at the moment, but in hindsight, a lot of times you can look back and learn those lessons. um I can say I had a lesson that I did learn. This is when I was first starting out in photography, and I was really, really brand new in the space. And I actually got hired. One of my people in my network, one of my coworkers, they got me hired with someone they knew, and they needed me to do some photos for. It was a celebrity event. It was going to be a celebrity event and everything like that. So when he called me up to do the job and stuff like that, I let him know from the beginning that I was an amateur. I'm just starting out and different things like that. And he was like, "You know how to take pictures, don't you?" And I said, "I do." He said, "Well, you can do it." So I signed up, I did the job, and in doing the job, um, I was taking the pictures and just doing some things, and I realized in hindsight, I'm realizing a lot of things. I was a kind of a shy photographer, so I never wanted to get up close and personal with people, so I was just taking photos from a distance. So when he finally got the files back from me and everything, Um, he told me, and he had already paid me with a check at the time, and he told me that basically he's going to cancel the check, and because the photos that I took, they could not be used, you know, and I was so hurt. That was one of a really huge challenge for me in the process, because I was like, oh my gosh, I did all this work. I went to all these events. I took so many pictures, and I took so many pictures because I would overshoot things just so I know that my client could get some good stuff out of the collection of images that I had. But anyway, fast forward, he canceled the check. He didn't pay me any different things like that. I was very, very hurt about that. But what I did do is I kind of prayed, and then once I prayed, I asked God to give me the words to say, because I was so upset about not being paid for my work. Anyway, I sent the email and everything like that. And I let him know, hey, I told you from the beginning I was an amateur. You accepted to hire me anyway. I still did the job. You did get pictures, and I did, give those to you and everything like that. And this is the lesson I learned. He told me it's not that the pictures were bad, but I had a lot of pictures of the backs of people's head. This was event photography, okay? I had a lot of pictures of the back of people's heads, and they couldn't use it for their magazine. That was the biggest lesson I learned. It was the biggest lesson I learned. So with that lesson, I became a better event photographer. I came out of my shell of being that shy photographer. And I learned how to use my camera and connect with people and get the shots that people needed. But this I learned very early in the process. Okay. Very early. I had just started, I was brand new. And I became a better photographer for it. So that was the lesson I learned in that. Even though it hurt in the beginning, I learned a really, really great lesson in the process. So I wanted to just share that story because that was one of the ones that just came up in my head as I was going over giving the tips for patients in the process. And that was just kind of learning in the process, learn from your success and your challenges. And that was one of the biggest challenges I've had, that caused me to become a better photographer in the process. So let me just ask you, what are some of the things that you are patient with? What are some of the things that you are patient with? Let us know. Let us know some of the things that you're patient, or let us know some of the things that you're impatient with. Anyway, let me go over the steps once again before I leave you on this Tuesday Night Live. The 4 steps to prepare for a harvest. Number one is steps. Purchase your seeds, your goals and visions. Number two, plant your seeds, which are plan the steps of the process. Number three, provide sunlight and water. Keep showing up, be consistent. And number four, exercise, patience in the process. All right, this is number four. And next week, I think that's going to be the last week in April. We can just kind of go over all the things in one. So I'll have one big wholesome tip, I guess, for our April showers. Bring May flowers. The steps to prepare for a grand harvest. Okay, so I am your girl Elisha, custom creation photography, coming to you on this Tuesday night live with tips for Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me in this journey to show up on Tuesday night and to share lessons and tips with you. I am going to sign up, but y'all stay tuned, okay? Because there's definitely more to come. Thank you for joining us. Bye bye.